Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday morning to you. Boy, I tell you, it's good to be back with you. Had a little virus that came raging through, and I just simply did not feel like doing a morning musings yesterday on Monday. But here we are on Tuesday. I appreciate you being with me. My name is Don K. Preston. I am the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma. I'm looking at Dr. David Hester's argument number 23 of the 23 that he offered in our formal public debate, July 14th and the 15th, 2016, during Preterist Pilgrim Weekend. And of course, that was 2016. Dr. Hester argued from John 11, 25 and following, John 6, 44 and following, 39 and following actually, that when Jesus said, and Jesus spoke of the resurrection at the, quote, last day, that must of necessity mean the last day of time. Now, Dr. Hester simply made the assertion. He offered no exegetical proof. And by the way, it is important to note that the Bible never, ever uses the term end of time. It is invariably time of the end. Now, folks, there's a huge difference here. End of time versus time of the end. The end of what has to be asked? Well, what's interesting to me is how casually Dr. Hester just made assertions without any exegetical support, without actually going to a text and showing, number one, the resurrection is about the raising of a human physical body. Number two, without even attempting to prove exegetically that this text that is talking about resurrection is talking about the end of the Christian age, which, by the way, has no end, or the end of time, which, as we just demonstrated, the Bible never talks about the end of time. But let me illustrate something here that's very, very powerful. In the book of John, the Gospel of John, the word hour and last hour, if you please, is closely associated with the eschatological consummation. Let me illustrate that. John chapter 5, 24 to 29. The hour is coming, and now is, when those who hear the voice of the Son of Man shall live. Okay. That hour, that term hour, is a significant statement. It tells us that a critical junction has been arrived at. Well, look at verse 28 and 29. Do not marvel at this, Jesus said, for the hour is coming in which all of those that are in the grave shall come forth, some to everlasting life, some to everlasting condemnation. Now, Dr. Hester believes that because Jesus said the hour is coming and now is versus the hour that is coming, that must mean two different, totally separate hours, so far separated by 2,000 years. We have more to say about that in our very next video. But watch this. The term hour is coming is pointing to what Dr. David Hester admits and agrees is the time of the, quote, final resurrection. So in John's eschatological writings, hour is referring to the critical consummation. And that would, of logical necessity, be the last hour. Would it not? If not, why not? Because after all, you got the hour of the resurrection, which is on the last day, according to Dr. Hester. So you have the last day. Well, does the last day not have the last hour? Well, he would agree with that in principle. Oh, but wait. John, the same writer, said, writing later, little children, it is the last hour. As you have heard that Antichrist should come, even now there are many Antichrists, thereby you know it is the last hour. Oh my goodness, wait a minute. In the book of John, hour is associated with resurrection. The last day is the day of the resurrection. The last day has a last hour. That means that John 5:28 and 29 is the last hour. But John, writing later in that very same generation, said, it is the last hour. And oh, by the way, he said, the night is passing away. Even now, the day is being revealed. Well, what day? The eschatological day. So here you have John using this term, last hour, which of necessity would, at least in Dr. Hester's world, would seem to indicate that it must refer to the last hour of time. If not, why not? After all, the last day refers to the last day of time. So why doesn't the last hour refer to the last day of time when the last day must, according to Dr. Hester, refer to the last day of time? This just simply illustrates how illogical and how shallow Dr. Hester's argument was. John is expressing emphatically and explicitly that he was living at the critical juncture. It is the last hour, John said. Folks, you and I are not living in the last hour. John was saying, the night is already passing away. The day is at hand. It is the last hour, the time for the resurrection. Hey, listen, if you want a whole lot more on the last hour, the last day, get a hold of my book, The Resurrection of Daniel, chapter 12, verse 2, Fulfilled or Future. Go to my website, donkpreston.com or bibleprophecy.com or eschatology.org. Order the book, send me a note that says you saw the offer on YouTube or Facebook, and I'll refund your shipping. All right, thank you so much for joining me for this morning's morning musings. We will look in the morning at Jesus' statement of the hour is coming and now is versus the hour is coming. Does that demand two totally separate hours, two totally separate events, so far separated by 2,000 years? And the answer to that is absolutely not. We'll see you on the flip side.